news, we are now seeing a very serious warning from the Secretary General of NATO. He is now warning that we could see a coordinated joint attack with Russia and China attacking together. We are also getting new updates on what the U.S. military is doing in the Caribbean and near Venezuela as well too. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see this is NATO Secretary General, and he just issued this warning at the annual NATO summit, and he is saying that NATO is now actively preparing for a joint attack between Russia and China. Okay, we are also getting comments from Trump on the Russia-Ukraine war. We will get to that in just a second. And also some comments on the conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan. But let's listen to these few comments from the NATO Secretary General really quick.
For example, China would move against Taiwan. It's highly likely that China will force the junior partner in that relationship, being Russia, under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, to move against NATO here. To keep us busy. For all these reasons, we have to make sure that we work as strongly together with them. And then on the hybrid threats, this is, of course, a big worry, and we are working on it. For example, China would move.
All right, so you heard that there. He said another comment in just a second, too. That was important, I think. But he is saying that he believes that China is going to potentially make a move on Taiwan. And when this happens, that potentially Russia could make a move on NATO as well too, and this could occupy NATO and occupy their forces while China is able to take Taiwan, right? That is what NATO is preparing for right now. This is something that I've talked about for years, that this could be a coordinated effort, and now we are seeing NATO leadership actively talking about this threat. So they must have some type of intelligence, and they are now preparing for this to potentially have to split their assets, okay, split fighter jets, split aircraft carriers, and split troop deployments to two different battlefronts at the same time, okay? And the Taiwan invasion would primarily be U.S. forces. There might be South Korean forces or Japanese forces in coordination, or even Australian, but that front will primarily be led by the United States. Okay, so the key here is to separate the United States and NATO. Okay, that's why this is such a strategic advantage for Russia and China if they did make this move, is because the United States is the backbone of NATO. Okay, European countries are extremely important too, but the U.S. is the powerhouse, and if the United States is tied up in Taiwan, fending off China, then this would definitely weaken the NATO front in Eastern Europe against Russia. Okay, so this would definitely be a powerful strategy from Russia and China, and NATO is worried about this. So just be prepared, be ready, and this is not out of the...
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstones while unto his truth, and also to those elect that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Hashem Shai. And the type of today's lesson is war news and prophecy. So I like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So before we start today's lesson, let's go to the book of Obadiah chapter 1. We're going to start off in the NLT. Verse 7, it says, "So all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. So your trusted friends will set traps, said, for you, and you won't even know about it. So that's where we're at right now. So we constantly seeing it was breaking news. So the first video is by Patrick Humphrey. You know, he put out pretty good information. You know, we get around to it. If you want to, you can subscribe to his page because he be on point about certain things. So we know he's not a prophet, but you know the Lord said he will pour out his spirit on all flesh. But nevertheless, we're seeing right here that we're seeing that these nations are constantly plotting, and also they're deceiving. Also, they are coming in allies against the West and also Israel. So we're seeing at some point that when you go to Revelation chapter 17, you know, they shall burn the whore. So we coming upon this time. So now it said breaking news that NATO Secretary General has issued a warning for an attack from Russia and China. You know what I'm saying? So we seeing these things are lining up. You know what I'm saying? Also, DJ Donald Trump had issued a warning of World War III. You know that Russia and China that they are going to invade. You know, so a lot of things that's constantly happening. Also, we're seeing that China, you know, is preparing to take Taiwan. So now we're seeing that they are trying to separate the U.S. from NATO so they can fight them straight up. You know, so a lot of these things are happening. Also, Russia is going to go in, get ready to. Well, it's rumors that they're getting ready to attack NATO. So we already know in a couple of months back that they was going into their airspace, where they are testing out things or whatever. But we're seeing right now that, you know, the heathens are raging. They're constantly preparing for war. You know, so prepare war against what the Gentile. When you go, I butcher it, but we'll go to it. But Joel chapter 3 and verse 9, where we know we're seeing right now that, you know, proclaim ye against the Gentile, proclaim war. You know, so but we'll see. You know, we'll go there in a minute. But anyway, for all the back and forth. But anyway, we're seeing right now that DJ Donald Trump has signed this peace treaty between Israel and Hamas or the Palestinians. You know, we're seeing right now that, you know, there will be no peace. When they say peace and safety and total destruction will come upon them. Also, we're seeing that we're still in these trade wars against, you know, China and also different other nations, you know, and also we already know that China is warning the U.S. if they constantly keep with these tariffs, that they are going to use countermeasures, you know, and put a lot of high tariffs on them with their minerals, with their resources. So a lot of things that they're doing. Also, we know that things is constantly intensifying between Venezuela and the U.S. So, you know, he's signing peace treaty in the Middle East, but war is surrounding him. So, you know, I don't know what the hell is this man is thinking about, talking about it will not be a World War III. But we're seeing right now that the one that was at peace with him have deceived him. So let's read this in the the KJV. Said Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7 said, so all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Said the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread or was in alliance with them, or what one time was at peace with them, have laid a wound under thee. Said there is none understanding. So when it started, you know, it's not going to be no understanding. Also, we're seeing that Russia is slowly becoming a god to these nations. We're seeing that Ezekiel chapter 38 war is lining up too. So we know that at some point, the least of the flock shall draw them out. You know, so we're talking about Israel going to draw out who? America, Babylon the Great. So we know tensions is constantly rising. You know, things are constantly escalating. We've seen these things are constantly happening left and right. You know, talking about this peace treaty, talking about there will not be a World War III, but we knowing that this man is in for a rude awakening. And once again, we already knowing now that China and Russia is coming in collaboration against the West and NATO, trying to separate them, just like the Bible says. So we see these things are popping. When they say peace and safety, then total destruction will come upon them. That's where we at right now, talking about peace talk, but there will be no peace. We here, man. It's at the door. So now, let's go here. We already got Patrick Humphrey. Let's go here. Let's get one more precept before we start today's video. Let's go here to First Thessalonians. Let's go here to First Thessalonians chapter 5, straight to the point. First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. We go straight to the point. It says here, so for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So when everyone is saying what peace and security, everything is all right, everything is fine. It's not going to be World War III. They're not going to attack us. Everything is going to be fine. Everything is going back to normal. When they say that, then what? Total disaster, total chaos, all sorts of destruction is coming upon us at a fast pace. Also a thermonuclear exchange. This man talking about World War III is not going to happen, but it's all over the Bible. Let's read in NLT. It said, when people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, then disaster will fall on them as suddenly as a pregnant woman labor pains begins, and there will be no escape. So that's what we coming upon these times, these trade wars. We seeing that all these different fronts, everyone's preparing for war. China getting ready to invade Taiwan. We seeing the wars constantly brewing between Ukraine and Russia, and also it's already reports that DJ Donald Trump is saying that he may send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine to aid in the war. So, but Russia saying that if they do that, that is a declaration of war. So we seeing right now at any given time, all hell is getting ready to break loose. So now let's start today's video. And also when they say peace and safety, peace and security, total destruction will come upon it. So there will be no peace. Destruction coming, and there shall be no peace. That's where we at right now. The World War III is going to happen. Also, we know that we're very close to our salvation. So now, let's go here to today's video. And after the video, we'll start the lesson. And I hope that you will get edified.
World War III fears are exploding again. Russia just issued a chilling new nuclear threat, and it's aimed right at Donald Trump. As Trump celebrates his Gaza peace deal, he's also threatening to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine if Russia doesn't back down. He told reporters, the Tomahawk is an incredible weapon, and Russia does not need that. That statement triggered a fierce response from one of Putin's closest allies, Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev fired back, saying this could end badly for everyone, especially Trump. He even warned that Tomahawks are nuclear capable and called this a serious escalation. Despite the tension, Ukraine's President Zelensky says he's working closely with Trump, and that Russia's fear shows this pressure might actually bring peace. So while Trump's being praised for peacemaking in Gaza, his missile threats are now pushing the world closer to a nuclear standoff. Is this pressure strategy the path to peace, or the edge of World War III?
Can we get the documents, please? This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up. I've done other deals, and people don't care as much. Big deals, I think they're big deals, but this is something that's taken off like a rocket ship. And it did from the beginning, and I've heard for years, this is the biggest deal, it'll never happen. For years, long before I ran for office, that this is the Middle East. It's the biggest, most complicated deal, and also it's the place that could lead to tremendous problems like World War III. They always talked about World War III would start in the Middle East, and that's not going to happen. We don't want it to start anywhere, actually, but it's not going to happen.
So we see this man is in for what, a rude awakening. This man, this man is, he's a man in a vain thing. Let's go here to Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. Let's get this right quick. It said, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" So we seeing this man talking about World War III is not going to happen, and there's going to be peace over the world. We know everything is going to come together. Everything is going to be lovely. But why are they constantly imagining these futile plans? Something that is worthless, non-profitable. As it is written, it shall come to pass. So these heathens of right now, they out of control. But the Lord is going to put their asses back in control. So let's go to Jeremiah. We seeing that World War III is all over the Bible. We'll just get a few and then we'll close. Let's go here to Jeremiah chapter 50. Jeremiah chapter 50, let's go here. Jeremiah chapter 50, let's just going to skip around a little bit. Let's get this from here. Verse 3. Let's get this one and we'll skip down. We'll move around a little bit. It said Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 3. It says, "For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. Said they shall depart both man and beast." So we see it right here that, that America is going to be totally destroyed, and there will be it going to make the land desolate, and there will be no inhabitant left there. That's reading in NLT. It said, "For a nation will attack her from the north and bring such destruction that no one will live there again." Said everything will be gone. Both people and animals will flee. So we seeing right now we're coming upon that China, that great nuclear, thermonuclear exchange. This man is lying. You know what I'm saying? When you go into that word devil, it goes into false accuse, someone that is a deceiver, a liar, someone that is slanderous. Let's read this here. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 8 say, "Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the he goats before the flock." Verse 9 said, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon," which in fact modern day Babylon is America, said, "and assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, and their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain." So it's talking about those arrows, those IBCM missiles. They shall not miss their mark, and also they will not return in vain. So one thing about it that, we coming upon these times. That's what we're constantly warning you about. A lot of people are in for a rude awakening. Verse 10 says, "And the Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoiled her shall be satisfied, says the Lord." So one thing about it is what we coming upon. This place is getting ready to be totally destroyed. It's going to be ramshacked, ran through, and destroyed. It says here, verse 10 said, in the NLT, Babylonia will be looted until the attackers are glutted with loot. So I, the Lord, have spoken. So this place is telling you right here it's going to be totally destroyed. This, we're here. This man talking about it's not going to start in the Middle East. Man, you can't do a damn thing about prophecy. Let's see here. Let's go here to let's go here to Joel. Let's go ahead to Joel. Let's get Joel and we get one more. We close out. Let's go ahead to Joel. This is right here, straight to the point. Let's go ahead to Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. It says here, it said, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Said, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. So right now, we're seeing right now, the heathens are raging. You know what I'm saying? They're preparing for what? For war. They constantly coming in these alliances. They said, wake up the mighty men. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the men of war, the military men, the soldiers, wake their asses up. You're getting ready to attack. Seeing that these nations are preparing for war, even though they're talking about peace, but peace, when they say peace and safety, then total destruction will come upon them. They're getting ready. The war drums are beating. Verse 10 said, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So right now we're seeing these nations right now that, really, didn't have a military, and they was backed by America. Some of these NATO countries, some of these nations that, didn't have the military, they're saying that they are strong. They're bucking up, against the West and Israel, so things are getting ready to be popping, because they looking at America and also Israel as the problem. Also, they seeing that America is constantly slowly circling the drain. Verse 11 says, assemble yourself and come, all ye heathens, and gather yourselves together around about. Thence cause thy mighty ones to come down. The mighty ones talking about those angels. So they gonna come down when it's time of trouble, get popping. This Archangel Michael is going to stand up for the children of Israel. So right now, we're seeing that the heathens are raised. They're gathering, themselves together, preparing for war, to try to be the next superpower. But the next superpower is coming. It's the kingdom of heaven that dwells in right. So right now, they're constantly assembling, but the Lord is assembling them. The Lord is moving the chess pieces around. The Lord is gathering the nation for the constant verse of Zion. The Lord said, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Verse 12 said, let the heathens be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the valley of Jehoshaphat. Said, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So Lord's getting ready to, bring forth that judgment. He's going to meet them in the midst of World War III, in that desolate desert, which in fact Saudi Arabia. I think it is Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. The Lord's going to meet them. The Lord's getting ready to move the northern army far from their borders, because we read upon war. It says here, verse 13 said, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fat overflow, for the wickedness is great. So that we're read upon that time. The Lord is getting ready to bring forth that judgment like they have never seen before. The Lord's getting ready to do a whole lot of illing. Verse 14 said multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near. Say in the valley of decision. So we seeing that right here, that the day of the Lord is very near. The Lord's gonna kill. It's gonna be a bloodbath. We put it like that. So we coming upon this time. These things are happening right before our in World War III. It's what fast approaching. So you can go to Revelation chapter 18 to tell the day of the Lord. At last, that day was so great. In 1 hour, thy judgment come. Well, how that's going to happen through that, the IBCM missile, and also that blazing chariot fire from Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Let's see, something else I want to get here before we close out. Let's go here to Revelations chapter 6. It's something I want to get out of here. It's something I want to get out. I think it's verse 11. To give you an example of World War III and those IBCM missiles. Let's try it. We're gonna get to it. Let's see. I will find it in a minute. Let's see here. I think this is it right here. Revelation chapter 6 at verse 13 said, and the stars of heaven fell upon the earth. So even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And that mighty wind is talking about those IBCM missiles. You know what I'm saying? Also that blazing chariot fire from Yahweh by Shemai, but it's right here. It's talking about that destroying wind, those IBCM missiles. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, that's what's getting ready to happen. The stars that fall from heaven. That is talking about these warheads, these nuclear warheads. They're gonna do a great destruction like you've never seen before. Verse 14, it says, and the heavens departed as a scroll. So when it is rolled together, and every mountain and and island were moved out of their places. So that's when when all these warhead hits. So when it says they departed as a scroll, it's talking about a nuclear explosion, a nuclear exchange. Describing a mushroom cloud. When those warhead hit their mark, and also it said the mountains and the island was moved out of their places. So they was what destroyed. Some of them islands, they was totally destroyed. Mountains was decimated. A lot of things get ready to have great destruction. So that's the point I want to make out of this. I don't want to go no further. It's just telling you more about it. So we're seeing right now that World War III is imminent. So let's go to our last and final script. Let's go here to Revelation chapter 11. Revelation chapter 11. We close out here. Just a quick lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. Man, these things are right before us. So we seeing right now that's major breaking news. If NATO attack if Russia attacked NATO, keeping them busy, and then also we're seeing if China goes into Taiwan, that's going to keep America busy, but also it's going to separate them. So we know that NATO and America will be separated, and so that's going to be an advantage of China and Russia, also in collaboration with these Arab nations, also with these African nations. They're going to come together and they're going to burn the whore. So so we're seeing that we are very close to these times. Or the war drums are beating, what I'm saying? When you go to, let's go one more. Let's get here. Matthew chapter 24. The Lord wanted me to go here. Matthew, let's get this one quick precept here. Matthew chapter 24 in verse 6, so this is where we at right here. It said, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So that's where we at right now. So rumors of wars are all over the place. But, the end is not yet because we are in the birth pain. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 11. We'll close out here. My tongue is about dried out. So let's get this right quick. We'll close out. Revelation chapter 11 and verse, I think it's 14 right here. It says, the second woe is past. Behold, the third will come quickly. So that's exactly what we're seeing. World War III, the last and final war, the wars to end all war, right before what? The great and glorious return of Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai. So we know that, the second war is past, talking about World War II, and war goes into destruction. But third will come quickly. That's what we come to seeing every day, that these things are coming full to fruition. We seeing that there's being revealed, it's being manifest. It's very obvious and clear that these war drums will be no peace. Death and destruction is upon us. The beginning of sorrow, the transition of power, the MOTB is getting ready to be implemented. You know what I'm saying? Jacob's trouble. A lot of things are happening. World War III. Things are right before our eyes. It's time to seek the Lord while he can be found. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is News and Prophecies. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.